Hi friends, it's Julie Golding Page, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in St. Stephen, New Brunswick, Canada, along the tidal Scoodic or St. Croix River, the traditional territory and home of the Passamaquoddy, and I'm grateful that they share this beautiful place with us. Today I have a really simple project to show you, a simple card for fall. So happy fall, y'all, to everybody. I just have been really impressed with all the beginnings of the colors that are coming out, and I hope you're enjoying that as well. And our card today is actually going to be including another one of my favorite things besides the beautiful colors of fall, and that is coffee. So if you are also a coffee fan, please leave a comment and let me know that you love coffee and maybe tell me what some of your favorite coffee might be. So I'm just going to switch this so we can see the project. So here we go. All right. So I had some technical difficulties this morning. Some things changed to do the live, so I hope that this is working. It's really hard for me to tell, so do let me know if you can see the project on your screen, because I had to do a little bit of digging to make this work today. So just let me know in the comments if you can see this all right. So here is our project for today. It is super simple and we're going to get right to that. So I'm going to show you what we use to make this project. So this is a really nice stamp set that came out in the annual catalog this May, and it's called Coffee with Friends. So it's got this beautiful picture of someone drinking coffee here. You've got two friends having coffee over here. You've got a picture of maybe some cappuccinos or lattes, maybe lattes, I guess, with some croissants over here. And then you've got these lovely sentiments. So let's get together soon. Coffee with a friend is like happiness in a cup. Oh, I love that. Thinking of you. You've got this. And sometimes you just have to reheat your coffee one more time and try again. I think that's really good. And then we have this one that you can put inside your card or as a second sentiment, which has ... and coffee too. So that's a really nice one as well. And oftentimes what we do with these kinds of sets is we take them and we color them. And that looks really, really great. But today's project is very simple. And so it can be done by beginners as well. And we're not actually going to color anything in. So we're going to use this a little differently. We're going to use Early Espresso ink. And I've got here the beautiful Inked Botanicals DSP. And DSP just stands for Designer Series Paper if you're new to Stampin' Up. So we've got all these beautiful designs. You get one of each of these in your package. I believe you get 48 sheets, so you should get 4 of everything. And they're lovely. So you could use these in the summer or spring or anytime in the winter. The blue ones especially would be really nice for the winter time. But I liked some of these ones for fall as well. So you've got this beautiful crushed curry with the flowers. You've got these lovely leaves. And here's another leaf pattern, and we're going to use this one today. And that's why I only have a little piece of this one, actually, because I used most of it in our projects. So if you flip them over, we've got these beautiful colors on the back as well. And there's another couple of patterns here. So hopefully you can see this. As I mentioned when I just started, I had some technical difficulties. Something changed about the program. And I couldn't get it to work at first to go live at all, but hopefully you can see what I'm doing. If you can, maybe you can just kind of let me know that you can see everything. So I'm just going to straighten up my camera here. Sorry about the crooked thing here. All right. Good morning, Linda. I'm glad you could join in today. So we're using this Coffee with Friends, and you can also click the link that I put in this post to get the instructions and the supply list for everything that I'm doing here today. Or if you miss that link, just go to www.juliescraftaddict.com, and you can also join my newsletter there. I send out a newsletter about once a week with card designs and all kinds of stamping news, promotional news, news about my latest online classes and so forth. So there's always lots and lots of new things happening. So here is the first thing we're going to use, And this is a die cut that I made from basic white paper using these dies. So it's the Scalloped Contours dies. And you can see they're really, really useful dies. So they do coordinate with a floral stamp set, but honestly, I mostly use these dies here. And then there's also this nice scalloped border die. So all of these in the set, except for this largest scalloped rectangle, will work with the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, which is great. So this one is the very smallest label. That's the one I used. And I'm now going to use my Take Your Pick tool. So this is the Take Your Pick tool. It has two ends, and this end is what we're going to use right now. This is the pointy end, but it's not too sharp, so it won't hurt you. And we're just going to poke out those little pieces that didn't quite get die cut. Sometimes there's these little bitty things that don't poke out with the dies, and this little tool can make short work of those. So let's just make sure we got them all. They're not stuck to the back anywhere. Okay, so we've got that. The other tip on this tool, I'll just show you that, has putty, and you can wind it up so you get some more putty there. And that's good for picking up tiny little embellishments, or I've heard that some people use it to pick up their glue dots as well. So it can be used to pick up little tiny things. So that's the Take Your Pick tool. I'll have that in the supply list on my website as well. So let's go ahead and do our stamping here first. We're going to use this Early Espresso ink. So I'm not able to see any comments at the moment. Maybe there aren't any new ones, but there's just something funny going on with the program here today. I'm not really sure what it is, but that's all right. We'll continue. So I'm going to use the sentiment that says, coffee with a friend, here it is like happiness in a cup. I just love that. I think that's so fantastic. So here we go. Nothing is better than a cup of coffee than a cup of coffee with a friend. That's what I think. Or a cup of tea too. I also really enjoy tea. Okay, so let's get this ready to go here. And I'm going to test it out actually on my cardboard first. I always like to test out my stamps just to make sure that they're stamping like I think they should. Oh yeah, that's a very nice image. Look at that. So this Early Espresso ink, I don't know if you can tell on the camera or not, but the Early Espresso ink is a really nice dark brown, like the name implies. It's even named for coffee, so I thought really we had to use it for this project if we're going to do coffee. So there we go. Here's how it stamps. So you can see with these red rubber stamps called cling stamps at Stampin' Up, you get really good detailing and resolution on your images. So that's what you'll often see used for extremely small things or detailed images, because you do get excellent, excellent resolution with those. I'm just going to put that aside and we'll clean up that stamp in a minute. So next we're going to take this square and we are going to stamp our picture. So I'm using this one of the two friends on the bench with their lovely coffee cups. Look at that. So let's get our image out of there, our red rubber stamp. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it down like this, and then I can see where I want it to be on my block so that it's actually not overlapping the edge of the block, and I'll get good pressure when I press it down. So just like before with the sentiment, I'm going to grab my cardboard here. I'm just using an old one, as you can see. And I'm going to get this all inked up, and we're going to try it out. So I like to just tap firmly. You don't squish it down into the ink pad because that will just like ooze ink everywhere. But just tap lightly but firmly. And you can see that looks like it's covered pretty well. So let's just stamp that down. We'll hold it down for several seconds just so the ink has time to transfer. And yeah, that looks like it's really doing a good job for us. So, okay. And I re-inked this ink pad. This is actually an older one that I've had for several years, so the design's changed a bit since then, but it does have the foam pad in there. and I re-inked it not that long ago, and it's working really, really well. So I'm very happy about that. Okay, so let's put that onto our square. I'm just going to try to arrange this so you can see it in the camera, and I can kind of put it in the center here. So we're just going to line it up and press straight down. I'm going to hold it for several seconds so the ink will transfer, and then we'll lift up. Okay, let's see how we did. Oh yeah, that looks great. So you can see how it practically invites coloring in, but I just wanted to make this really simple, and that means you can make multiples without any trouble at all. So it's just another way to use these stamp sets that are just outlines so that you don't have to color them every single time. And it just gives them a different look too. So that was the early espresso. I'm going to move that out of the way for us. And now we're going to just clean up our stamps. I find that if I leave them on the table, I'm likely to put something on top of them by mistake. So I like to clean them up right away. And I'm using my Simply Chamois here. They're not very expensive. Just a little over $10, I believe. I think they're 11 something. And you just wet them down with water, wring them out gently. You can see it's very pliable when it's wet. And then they stay damp for a long time if you put them in an empty stamp box. And as you can see, water alone is cleaning this up. So no nasty chemicals, no expensive cleaners to buy for these water-based inks. And most of the inks that Stampin' Up! Has are water-based. So they're just really, these things are really, really convenient. And you can see it kind of stains. You just wash it under water again. So just kind of rinse it out and keep wringing it out till the color stops coming out. And there you go. You can use it again. Okay, so we've got our pieces here. Let's get our sample here too. Okay, and now we will put this all together. All right, so let's take our image and we're going to put it on a slightly bigger square of petal pink paper. And I'm just going to use my Stampin' Seal, but you could use whatever adhesive you want to. You could use the multi-purpose liquid glue. You can use glue dots. You can use whatever you like. As long as it sticks on nicely, it is good to go. So we'll get those together. And now I have a panel of that beautiful inked botanicals paper. You can see it's this color on the other side, but I want the lovely fall leaves here. And we're going to put it onto a slightly larger panel of early espresso cardstock. And I have a link right in this post. I actually was on the ball enough to get it in early before I started today. Yay. And that link will take you directly to my blog, which has all the information about how to make this project with all the measurements. And it has all my specials, including if you buy $60 worth of items from me this month through the end of the month, you will get supplies to make 4 cards, which is great. And it also has any information about classes and all kinds of other things, whatever my stamping news is. Okay, so now we're going to put these items onto our card front. So I'm going to use dimensionals for that. And my page of dimensionals is almost used up, but I'm just using these little scraps on the edge because they stick just as well as the rest of them do. So why not get your money's worth, right? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put these little scraps on, and those will stick really well too. And I like to put one in the middle so it doesn't sag in the middle, particularly if you're mailing it. So in the comments, let me know what you think of the project for sure. And also, if like me, you are a coffee fan, I would love to hear what kind of coffee you like. So I like to try a lot of the local ones wherever I happen to be. Here in New Brunswick, I really like Down East Coffee, which comes from Moncton. I was just at their cafe the other day when we were coming through there. And also I like Java Mousse, which comes out of St. John. So those are my 2 local favorites here. And wherever I go, I like to try whatever their local blend is. All right, so here we go. Oh, thanks, Gail. I'm really glad you like the card. Yeah, just something really simple. It's nice to do a simple card because it's easier to make multiples. I think it's often more fun because you're not stressed out about something really difficult. And it's better to share with friends too if they're not familiar with stamping. So here's our petal pink card base. And I'm going to use my bone folder to just give it a nice crisp fold there. Sorry for shaking the table there, friends. And then we're going to use some dimensionals. So I've got a new sheet here, and we're going to put those on the back of our panel. So I'm going to use 4. Oh, not a fan of coffee, Linda. Oh, that's okay. I have lots of friends who would definitely agree with you on that. And if you like, you can imagine whatever you want in those cups. So that's something I meant to mention. So I'm glad that you actually said something about that. If you're not into coffee or the recipient of your card isn't, these cups could be hot chocolate. They could be tea. They could be whatever you like, steamed milk, really any hot drink, apple cider. So don't feel like you're blocked in by coffee with this set. It does have a couple of sentiments about coffee, but the other ones are more generic, like let's get together soon. I'll show you here. So we've got thinking of you, we've got let's get together soon, and those don't have to be anything about coffee at all. And same thing with this, that doesn't have to be coffee. That could be some kind of a steamed drink. It doesn't need to be coffee. So yes, thank you for mentioning that, Linda. I appreciate that. And Gail says she likes dark roast coffee. Yes, me too. And my husband is especially a fan of dark roast. Okay, your favorite is Princess of Darkness. Oh, okay, from Nelson, BC. I haven't heard of that one, so thank you for mentioning that. That's great. All right, if you've got a link to that company, feel free to pop that into our comments as well so we can see where that is and kind of check it out. All right, we have one more thing to do on our card. As you can see, I have these embellishments here. And what I'm using for our embellishments today is these neutrals adhesive back sequins. So I really like these. They came in a number of neutral colors, and you can see how useful I thought they were because that's all I've got left. And there were, let's see, 200. So I've got what, maybe a dozen left? Not very many. But we have enough of the brown to use today in our card. So I'm going to use those in my coffee card. Or you can make it into whatever kind of beverage you like. Just use a different sentiment that doesn't say coffee down here and you'll be good to go. So I'm going to just use 3 of these like I did in my sample, just to make a triangle that draws the eye down through the main parts of the card so you get to see them all and kind of unifies the design. And that's it for our card today. So thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you have enjoyed it. Feel free to click through and see the instructions and also the supply list for this card. And there's my website right there, juliescraftaddict.com. I would love to have you join my email list so that you can get all the stamping news and we can keep in touch. So thanks again for joining me and have a wonderfully crafty day. Bye for now, friends.